Alright, so I took my pumpkin, I exported it out of 3ds Max, and I imported it. Well, I made a new file in Substance for the pumpkin. I'm going to come here to Bake Mesh Maps, and since I never made a high poly, I'm just going to click here to use the low poly and bake out those default mesh maps. So it's going to take a moment to go ahead and bake those. And there we go, because you always got to have those default maps, even if they're just baked from the main. So let's make a new folder, and let's find something that's going to work for kind of the inside of the pumpkin. Maybe the zombie bubble skin. Ooh, look at that, zombie bubble skin. Let's kind of use that on the inside. So we'll kind of click on it, scroll down. It's got a color, which is perfect, which means we can kind of take that and make it more like the inside of a pumpkin. Something a little bit creamier for us. There we go. That'll work good. And then we want to mask that off, so it's just the inside. So I'm going to right click and say add black mask. And I'm just going to come over here. You could either paint to mask out the area that you want. You can even paint directly on the model. Because we have this broken in cleanly into UV shells, I'm going to use polygon fill, at which point I can just region select everything that I want to have this assigned to it. I'll just go back to paint. Now those have it. It's a little tricky to see because the default is sort of this metal gray. Let's put another one on here. I'm going to do plastic matte, and I'm just going to change the color to be a nice orange. And I'll make sure that's inside the folder. And once again, do a black mask. And I'm just going to do polygon fill. And I'm going to select the main part of the pumpkin. Go back out here to paint. And then just do one more. And I need something that's going to work for the stem. Let's keep it really simple. I'm just going to throw this leather rough on there. I'm going to do right click and say add a black mask one last time. Polygon fill, select the stem. Just go back to paint so I can see things better. And let's take a look at this leather rough. It looks like we could probably just take that and move that up to a nice green. So there's our pumpkin. All right, he's got some basic colors on him. There's certainly a lot more we could do. I've seen that up on Substance Share you can actually find an actual nice pumpkin material. Really, we're just kind of looking for these base diffuse colors for our purposes. So we can take what we have now and export out the textures. I've already defined my location where those are at, so I'll export those out. And as soon as that's done, we'll just hit save, file, save. And now inside of 3ds Max, I can open up my material editor. Here inside Max, there's my pumpkin, which I'm going to select. I have a material that's already assigned to him. I've already imported the base color, which I've renamed pumpkin underscore D. And I'm just going to plug that into diffuse color, and then I just want to make sure that show realistic material viewport is turned on. So, all right, there we go. That's him. Although, that seems odd. If I put an unwrap UVW on and open the UV editor, should be him. Everything looks correct. That's weird. I wonder why. Convert to edit poly. Huh, this took a turn I was not expecting. Well, I'm going to be totally honest here. I don't know why this material is like that. Let's bring over a new standard and just plug in this texture. Select the pumpkin, right click, and assign material to selection. And say show realistic material in viewport. Well, that's really odd that that shows up like that. That's really unexpected. If I hit render, he renders out just fine. So I'm not 100% sure why here in the viewport he's not working. It could be I may be having issues with my video card. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to close some software and see if that fixes it. Alright, so as you can see, as I start this back up, What I ended up doing was I closed software. I was also, in addition to Max, I was running Photoshop. I was also running Substance. Substance takes up a lot of memory, and so clearly I was having some kind of video card error because after I closed those, closed Max and reopened it, I didn't do anything and those textures were applied and they worked out just fine on him. Okay, so now that's how I was able to get textures, basic textures for my pumpkin.